Chapter 1: Introduction to Havenwood. The cold, gray walls of Havenwood Correctional Facility loomed like sentinels, enclosing a world where the echoes of despair mingled with the flickers of hope. As I settled into my new reality, feelings of isolation crept in, wrapping around me like a heavy shroud. The clanking of metal doors and the distant calls of guards filled the air, a constant reminder of the stark routine that now dictated my life. It was during a long shift cleaning the library that I stumbled upon an old tape recorder. Its worn, dusty surface seemed to whisper possibilities, a forgotten artifact in a place where stories thrived, yet remained untold. That moment sparked an idea. I would document my journey, capturing not just my thoughts, but the lives of those around me. This would be my diary, a chronicle of struggles, growth, and the unyielding human spirit seeking redemption amidst the confines of despair. Chapter 2: The Orientation Experience. As I stepped into the bleak hall of Havenwood Correctional Facility, anxiety clenched my chest. The monotonous droning of the guards' instructions echoed through the concrete corridors, punctuated by the frantic rustle of new inmates adjusting to their harsh surroundings. Each face reflected a mix of fear and despair, mirroring my own turmoil. I clung to my sense of self, but the reality of locks clicking shut behind us felt suffocating. Orientation was a lesson in intimidation. Rules imposed with strictness, stories of violent incidents whispered in the shadows. The guards marched like sentinels, their presence a constant reminder of our vulnerability. It was here that I learned the harsh truths of survival. Trust was a luxury, and camaraderie felt distant. In the chaos, I realized I had to find my voice amidst the cacophony of despair, sparking the initial flame that would guide my journey within these unforgiving walls. Chapter 3: Meeting. As I sat among the dusty shelves in the library, the clamor of the prison faded into the background. That's when I first met Lena, her vibrant sketches contrasting sharply with the grayness surrounding us. She was a whirlwind of creativity, imprisoned for fraud but unapologetic about her passion for art. Curious, I watched as she transformed blank pages into vivid worlds, capturing emotions I'd long forgotten. Lena approached me, offering a pencil and a smile, urging me to give it a try. Hesitantly, I etched the outlines of my memories, fragments of joy and regret intertwined. In that moment, it was as if the weight of my sentence lifted, if only for a breath. Through her gentle encouragement, I learned that art wasn't just a distraction. It could be a refuge. As each day passed, our creative sanctuary became a beacon of hope, illuminating the path toward understanding and healing. Chapter 4: The Art of Storytelling. As I settled into the daily rhythms of Havenwood, I couldn't shake the feeling of stagnation that clung to me like a shadow. Then I met Carlos. He commanded attention with his presence, his charisma sparking curiosity among the inmates. One afternoon, as we gathered in the common area, Carlos began to share his tales, stories of his youth filled with reckless ambition and dreams turned sour. His words resonated with a raw honesty that cut through the monotony of prison life. I found myself captivated as he recounted pivotal moments, mistakes that shaped him into the man he was today. Through his storytelling, I realized that each of us carried a narrative, a tapestry woven with threads of regret and resilience. In this shared space, Carlos taught me that our stories could connect us, transforming pain into a bridge that fostered understanding and camaraderie among those of us trapped behind steel bars. Chapter 5: Building Bonds. As the days pass within the confines of Havenwood, I begin to appreciate the unexpected friendships that flourish in this stark environment. One of the most profound connections I make is with Harold, a gentle giant serving a life sentence for a crime of passion. Despite his intimidating stature, Harold's heart is as big as his presence. He often goes out of his way to check in on others, offering a reassuring smile or a word of encouragement. Our late-night conversations reveal the depth of his wisdom, forged through years of regret and reflection. He shares stories of his family and the choices that led him here, emphasizing the importance of empathy in a place filled with anger and despair. In Harold, I find not just a friend, but a mentor, someone who reminds me that understanding and support can exist even in the unlikeliest of circumstances. These bonds are what keep hope alive in our hearts, whispering that redemption is possible. Chapter 6: channeling emotions through art. In the dimly lit corners of Havenwood Correctional Facility, creativity ignited a flicker of hope within Jamal. Inspired by Lena, he eagerly joined her in brainstorming ideas for their art project. They envisioned an exhibit that would serve not only as a form of expression, but also as a therapeutic outlet for the inmates. Together, they gathered supplies, paints, brushes, and canvas scraps, and created a space where vulnerability thrived. Jamal watched as fellow inmates, shackled by their pasts, transformed blank surfaces into vivid reflections of their emotions. Through each brushstroke, stories of regret, longing, and resilience began to emerge. Jamal found himself channeling his own turbulent feelings into colors and shapes, discovering catharsis in the process. The collaborative atmosphere allowed him to connect with others, breaking down walls of isolation. In these moments, a sense of healing blossomed, illuminating the power of art to transcend the confines of their surroundings and foster a mutual understanding among those yearning for redemption. Chapter 7: Showcasing Inmate Stories. As anticipation built within Havenwood, the day of the art exhibit drew near. Jamal and Lena rallied their fellow inmates, transforming the library into a vibrant gallery filled with color and emotion. Each artwork became a window into individual lives, brushstrokes depicting pain, resilience, and hope. Jamal marveled at how each piece told a story more profound than words could capture. Working alongside his peers, he documented the creative process, noting the challenges some faced in sharing their experiences. Despite initial hesitation, a sense of camaraderie blossomed as inmates encouraged one another, fostering an environment of trust and vulnerability. The prison walls, once symbols of confinement, became canvases of liberation. Jamal felt a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Art empowered them to reclaim their narratives. The day before the exhibit, he reflected on the profound impact these stories would have, not just on the inmates, but on the world outside, waiting to listen. Chapter 8: The Public Showcase. The long-awaited day of the art exhibit finally arrived, filling the air within Havenwood Correctional Facility with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Inmates shuffled nervously, adjusting their artwork and rehearsing their stories. Jamal set up the space, feeling a sense of pride swell within him as he recalled the journey that brought them here. Staff members and community guests began to filter in, their expressions a blend of curiosity and apprehension. As Jamal guided visitors through the exhibit, he watched their faces transform while connecting with the inmates' stories depicted through vivid colors and powerful imagery. Each piece spoke volumes, reflecting pain, hope, and resilience. The vulnerability in sharing their experiences was palpable, and as Jamal stood amidst the laughter and tears, he acknowledged the beauty of their collective journey. In this moment, he realized they were not just inmates. They were voices in a powerful chorus, echoing their truths behind bars. Chapter 9: Confronting Personal Demons. As I sit in my cell, the flickering overhead light casts shadows that mirror the darkness I've carried within. The memories flood back, the streets, the choices, the people I let down. During a recent session with the counselor, I found myself unraveling, acknowledging the pain and the responsibility I'd long avoided. She asked, "What does accountability look like for you?" The question jolted me, forcing me to confront the reality that my past doesn't have to define my future. I spoke about the nights of desperation, the misguided dreams chasing the high of a quick dollar. Facing these demons, I felt a surge of clarity and empowerment. I realized I wasn't just a criminal. I was a man capable of change. Healing begins with acceptance, and through this painful reflection, I grasp at the threads of hope woven into my story, a reminder that redemption is not merely a destination, but a continuous journey. Chapter 10: The Initiative for Change. As Jamal sat on the cold metal bench in the prison yard, he overheard whispers about a reform initiative aimed at improving conditions within Havenwood. The discussions filled him with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt before. Inspired by his personal growth and the transformative power of art, he began to rally his fellow inmates, urging them to embrace this opportunity to advocate for change. "We can't just accept our fate," he said during a meeting in the makeshift common area, his voice firm yet hopeful. "We need to share our stories. They matter." Jamal organized discussions where inmates could voice their experiences and dreams, fostering a collective understanding of their struggles. As he documented their narratives, Jamal felt the weight of responsibility growing. Together, they could challenge the stigmas attached to their identities, uniting in a pursuit for dignity and reform, igniting a spark of hope for a better tomorrow. Chapter 11. Rallying the Inmates. As the spark of change ignited within Jamal, he felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility to share this energy with his fellow inmates. He began organizing informal gatherings during yard time, inviting others to recount their stories, their struggles, and their aspirations. With each meeting, Jamal encouraged honesty and vulnerability, explaining how their collective voices could create a powerful narrative for the reform initiative. He reached out to Carlos, Harold, and even Lena, inspiring them to help foster a sense of community among the inmates. Together, they brainstormed ways to document these stories, understanding that each experience was a thread in the tapestry of the prison's collective identity. The camaraderie grew, and Jamal noticed a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Men who once wore their pain as armor began to exchange laughter and solidarity. United by a common goal, they stood ready, determined to advocate for their futures and to show the world that they were more than just their crimes. Chapter 12. The Voices of Havenwood. As I sit in the quiet of my cell, the weight of the stories around me presses heavily on my heart. Each inmate at Havenwood bears a unique tale, a tapestry woven with threads of regret, choices, and flickers of hope. I commit myself to documenting their narratives, delving into the complexities of their lives and the circumstances that led them to this place. There's Malik, whose ambition fueled a life of crime, yet who dreams of using his experience to mentor youth. Sarah, a mother whose desperation drove her to make life-altering mistakes, but who longs for reconciliation with her children. Through each story, I find a mirror reflecting my own struggles, fears, and aspirations. Their voices rise in unison, echoing a powerful message. Redemption is not just about punishment, but about understanding, transformation, and the unwavering belief that change is possible, both within these walls and beyond them. Chapter 13. Reflections on Growth. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself immersed in a profound journey of self-discovery and healing amidst the steel walls of Havenwood. The friendships forged here, each one unique and rich with stories, became my lifeline. Conversations with Harold opened my eyes. His wisdom taught me empathy, helping me navigate the complexities of our shared existence. Communal meals transformed into heartfelt dialogues, revealing the raw humanity behind each inmate's facade. I began to shed the weight of judgment I had previously carried, realizing that we are all bound by our scars and dreams. In the quiet moments of my diary entries, I acknowledged my own mistakes, finding strength in vulnerability. I trusted that growth is a continuous process, fueled by forgiveness, both of ourselves and others. Together, we have rewritten our narratives, understanding that while our pasts may define us, they do not have to confine us.